everyone, this is Mindy Egan for Honeybee Stamps, and in today's video, we are going to be creating a background using a jelly plate or gel press. This is a really fun way to kind of introduce yourself to mixed media, and it is a really quick and easy way to create a background. So I will be using the Celebrate background from Honeybee Stamps. It is a red rubber stamp, and I've had this on my wanting to create list for quite a while, so I thought it would work really great with this technique. Now, I am digging out a very large jelly plate or gel press, however you want to call it, or whatever you want to call it, depending what company you purchase it from. Now, mine is super big because I can't find my medium size one, but this did actually come in pretty handy. So I just took the acetate pieces off and placed it down onto my glass mat. Now, I also have quite a few sheets of cardstock ready to go. I just took an 8.5 by 11 and cut it in half. So I have plenty of room to work with. And you are going to want a few pieces handy, actually more than a few, because once you get started playing with this, you just kind of keep going. The two colors I picked out are from Concord and Ninth. They are Wildberry and Harbor. So I am taking them directly to the gel plate and kind of squishing them down. Next, I'm going to bring in a rubber brayer. So this one I have, I'm not sure where I actually got it. It's just a ginormous one that I really love when I'm only using two colors. And I'm going to go back and forth across those two colors to kind of help mix them. So this is also really great if you're not great or not comfortable with ink blending, using a gel plate will help with that. So I did kind of brayer that off onto some scratch paper, and then I'm bringing in another piece of cardstock and placing it down onto my gel plate and then smushing that down with my hand. So here is my initial print. There is a lot of wild berry that kind of took over that piece of cardstock. So I'm going to do some more backgrounds. I like to clean mine with a little bit of hand sanitizer and a paper towel. I like to start fresh, especially when I have this wild berry, because I don't want it to keep consuming my prints. So I did just a little bit of the wild berry and then a little bit more of the blue. And when I brayered this on there, which I did clean my brayer too, I wiped it off on a paper towel. I'm only going in the one direction. So from the blue into the wild berry versus bringing the wild berry back into the blue. I rubbed my brayer off on that scratch cardstock again, and then I took the stamp and stamped that down into the ink. Now I'm bringing in that piece of cardstock, a different one, and pressing that down onto the plate, completely forgetting that I had words on here. So the words are going to stamp backwards, but I wanted to show you that technique because it is really great for backgrounds that don't have words. Now, because I stamped it onto that gel plate, I picked up ink, which means I can stamp with that. So you're kind of getting a 2 for 1 out of that. So, this is a very addictive technique because no background is ever going to be exactly the same. A lot of this is experimenting, trying to find out what you like. Here, I wanted more blue. I wanted more of that to show up. The wild berry was taking over, but I didn't want to completely eliminate the wild berry. And if I'm going to be honest, I actually like that scratch piece of paper better than I do the real print because it's a little more mixed media feeling, a little more, I guess, less organized, kind of more chaotic looking, and I like that. So I just kept playing with it. I would clean my gel plate in between, and I would just keep working it. Maybe a little less of the wild berry, a little more of the blue, depending on where you put your brayer. And then here, I'm just experimenting with the stamping. So I did like that. That is something that I'm going to save all of these backgrounds for. But after a while, I just kind of created a collection of backgrounds, whether they had stamping on them, whether it was a print, or whether it was the scratch paper that I was cleaning my brayer off on. So, like here, I love that look. It's very, very artsy to me, and I really, really love that look. But now I did also really love the stamping of this. So I came up with a compromise. So once I kind of cleaned everything up, I have all my backgrounds made. Here, I just wanted to show you what it looked like stamping that background with that excess ink onto a plain white piece of cardstock. Again, a very subtle look. Now, here I have all of my compilations of the backgrounds I created. I'm going to sift through them and pick out a piece of the cardstock that I like the best, which happened to be that scratch paper that I was brayering off of. But now instead of stamping it with regular ink, I'm going to bring in white pigment ink. Now mine is a little bit on the drier side, which I think played to my advantage. So I am inking up my background stamp, which is stuck down to my glass work surface. I'm inking that up with the white pigment ink. And then I'm going to take that cardstock, flip it over, and kind of just push this or press this down into the stamp. And I'm not going over every area with force. I'm kind of being a little light-handed with it, and it created the best subtle background. I absolutely love how that came out. Now, of course, I couldn't stop there. I wanted to add some splatter to this, so I am bringing in some white watercolor, I believe this is, mixed with just a drop of water. You can use any type of white splatter that is your favorite, and I'm going to splatter it with a paintbrush. The pop of white really helps break up all of that bright background. Before I splattered, I did trim my panel down, so it is going to be cut to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I'm going to layer the back of that panel after it is completely dried using some foam strips, and then I'm placing it onto a white card front that is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now, I was going to say I'm keeping the sentiment fairly simple, but I don't know if you call using holographic cardstock simple because it really does pack a punch to this background. But I die cut the big birthday from holographic cardstock. I also die cut it 2 more times from a heavyweight white cardstock and layered them together to add that dimension, and then adding them to the front of the card. So this really was an easy card to put together, and I have a ton of backgrounds left over that I can use. So if you have been intimidated by using a gel plate, please don't be because it is a lot of fun and so much creativity is just waiting for you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for joining me.